Welcome back.
We're here again. What's happening?
We're stressing Mo out back there.
Yeah.
She's producing this, and sometimes we don't cooperate all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back. We're going to talk today about more roof installation issues. We're trying to make this as informative as we can, so you guys that are already working with the product or just getting started or have different kinds of projects going, we're trying to go through things so there's kind of a record or something you can refer back to. So today we're going to talk about some more of the roof substrates, the things that we get the most calls on around here, and in fairness, I probably have the most experience working on all of them, but actually Jeff and Monique are the ones that take the phone calls here. So when you guys call in, right, you end up talking to Jeff or to Monique and ask your questions about the substrate. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to ask Jeff to talk about the granulated cap sheet roofs, because I think that's really probably the most common roof that we see out there across the country. So Jeff's going to talk a little bit about that, what to look for and the things that would maybe keep you from doing one of those roofs, but there's very few of those. Almost every one of those I've ever seen could be saved.
Yep. A little bit of repairs, but so yeah, on the granulated cap sheet, torch down, you just granulated surfaces. It's really an easy application. What we recommend is going through and pressure washing, cleaning with our Sure Scrub cleaner. Scrub it real good. A lot of times you run into roof surfaces with the granulated that are old and brittle, and you'll see them buckled up in that, but that can be repaired. Those areas can be repaired, cut out, and just patched in, and we can go over the top of that and do like a Band-Aid with our coating and fabric prior to doing the complete system over the top of it. And then also we run into a lot is around the drains, ponding areas, and that. It's pretty easy to detail around those. We have some great details. I can help you out if you send some pictures on doing that application around those. But yeah, it's pretty much an easy application. After cleaning, you want to clean the roof, you want to get everything loose off. We want to pressure wash. The granules, you want to try to get those off as much as possible, because when you start rolling the coating, they're going to get caught up in there. So I recommend after cleaning is you can just take a blower and just sweep just right before you do those areas, and it really makes a lot better substrate for the coating to go down. Anything else to touch up on that?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we see all the time too, you guys, is sometimes these roofs they're dry, brittle, and are starting to crack and come apart, and they still have a lot of granules left on them. And those roofs also have a tendency to be really dirty. They don't look dirty on the surface when you first look at them, but the granules hide that really fine dirt. So those of you guys that have cleaned some of these roofs, you know what that looks like. It's that dirt is almost like silt by the time you get it out. It's like baby powder in that sense. So they may look clean, but that's the whole idea of the rinse, is to get that really fine powdered dirt out of there, so your adhesion is great. We just did a pull test for one of our owners a couple of weeks ago. He had a question about this, so it was one of his buildings, so we took an area that we did not pressure wash to do a test for him and show him. One was in the roof field, where it was one of the higher spots where water didn't set, but it got rained on, obviously. And then we did a pull test there, and then we did a pull test in one of the ponds adjacent to it, where you could tell by looking at it, had a kind of a brownish color to it. We swept it and blew it off with the blower, but we didn't wash it. And then we had an area adjacent to that we'd power washed the day before. So we did all three of those, and the place we cleaned pull tested like 19 pounds before it started to peel up the old roof. The field area where we just blew it off and didn't power wash it still pulled about 7.5, 8 pounds. And then the pond, again, was the problem area that we always come to. And because of the silt and stuff that was in there that we couldn't blow out with the blower, we knew that would happen, but I wanted to show him firsthand. So that thing only pulled like 3 pounds.
Wow.
So it probably wouldn't come up, but it's just not near the roof. So it's important that you get them clean, get the roof clean, and it's really easy to do, you guys. It's quick. The first one we ever washed seemed like it took us forever, but we have a pretty good system, and there's videos of it on the website of us washing. And a three-man crew can wash a whole bunch of square footage in
yeah.
a day. It's quick. So that's kind of the biggest thing. The other thing is I would say the detailing of these roofs. When we talk about detailing, we're talking about the plumbing penetrations, the electrical conduits, the roof drains, those kind of things. Again, the first time you do this, it's going to take you a little longer. But if you watch the videos in there, or you call and talk to Jeff and Monique, and they can point you in the right way in terms of some of the pictures. There's really an easy way to do that stuff. So the cutting and stuff to fit things around, it goes quickly. So don't let that scare you off. It's one of those things where you know, as you do this, you'll pick up speed, and all that detail work goes very quickly. So it's an easy system to use in that respect. So I think that's all I got on that.
Yeah, real quick, so also we have these adhesion test kits available. So if any contractors or building owners want to do a test area on your roof, just give us a call and we can send one out to you. It's really easy to do, and it'll show you the bondability, how it bonds to it, and if you're going to have any issues. The only thing that we worry about is just going over silicone. So if you got a silicone roof, it's good to do a test on there to see if it's actual silicone or if it's just a partial blend of silicone in there. But yeah, contact us on that. We can get one out to you right away. Okay, let's go over, let's see, our next one, metal. I know you've done a lot of metal roofs and that.
Yeah, so we I don't know, it comes in waves. So I was on a 3.5 acre metal roof on Monday, looking at that's such a huge building with all the internal gutter system and all that to drain the water out of it. And we've been fortunate enough to really have the opportunity to do a couple of buildings even older than this one, where we've saved these roofs. And again, Jeff and Monique have access to these pictures. One of them is an old aircraft manufacturing plant, an assembly line with a huge electric gantry crane in it, and it's an incredible building just from the architecture part of it. But it was very worn. It had a lot of leaks in it, and there's a lot of electronics inside that building, so it had to be fixed. And so there's a whole story behind that building, but it's probably the most challenging metal roof we've done. But the one that I looked at this week, same thing. It has internal gutter system in it that needs to be saved. To replace that gutter system in it's 40 feet up in there inside with all of their equipment in it. I mean, next to impossible, and the cost of it would be a fortune. I showed Monique the pictures we got from the job.
Just
this
the
week.
access to those, getting the access
Right.
to those is really, you got to tear a lot of
Right.
paneling the panels off.
So the other roof, the aircraft assembly building, that one had some holes in it. So we put, I don't know, 24 patch panels in that gutter system, and then had to seal the edges where it ran up the side. So it was a little bit tricky, but we used the Surecoat material and the fabric, and that thing's been sealed now. That roof's going on its 5th winter, I think, and no leaks, and didn't have to tear any of it out except for some patch panels. And it's, the thing holds water. It's got water standing in it after rain for several days, so it works. So call and ask these guys about that if you have those kind of special projects. And the system actually going over metal, your problem areas of those, you guys that do this already, you understand. And if you haven't done one yet, they're relatively simple. Your problem areas are your fasteners where they've worked loose. Yep. And we've got some great pictures showing those fasteners with the washers missing, where they've rotted over the years. And the washers are gone, and there's little pinhole leaks where the fasteners go through. So we have a way of fixing that with the same materials. And then basically that's a spray application. So I know Jeff's usually the one that talks to people about the spray equipment, all that. Monique can answer some of those questions, but Jeff's got all the information as far as what machines we're using and the application. But it's simple, guys, and these roofs, we've saved some really ugly roofs.
Yeah, you can get some production done on those, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So spraying.
It's and the other thing about the metal roofs, almost all the metal roofs that are out west are on areas that are there's either livestock inside, or there's people inside working, or they're storing things inside that can't be out in the weather. So if you think about that, we've tested these with the thermometer before, and if it's like 85 degrees outside, the metal roof surface, untreated, those metal roofs are 140, 150 degrees. You can barely even touch them. And the heat that radiates through there changes the inside air temperature in that building in the mid-morning. I mean, by afternoon, it's absolutely blazing. So this material, the SureCoat material, is fantastic for that, keeping the heat out. And again, we've got photos of during the day, ambient air temperature in the 90s, and the roofs, you know, the ambient air temperature is 90 and the roof's 92. It's not 145 or 150 degrees. So yeah, waterproofing, weatherproofing, and basically keeping it cool and preserving that existing roof system. So it's a great product for that, and it's easy. It's a very easy system to use. So that brings us to Single Ply, buddy. So you want to talk about that? You want to touch on that a little bit about?
Yeah, as far as you know, coating over Single Ply, you know, you have your different membranes, your PDM, TPO, you know, various Single Ply systems like that. And what happens, you'll see a lot of the old systems when we go out there, you'll see big bubbles in them, and they're floating and wrinkled and that. And you know, most of the time they want to come in and do a tear off and redo it. And you know, with ours, with our system, you can come in there. What we'll do is on those areas that are like that, we'll just take fasteners, fasten those down. We'll do a little patch over the top with our coating fabric and you know, coating, and then we're able to do the full system over the top. We just want to make sure it's bonded completely around the, you know, perimeters in any areas like that, especially at seams. You'll see a lot of you know, problems that they do have with Single Plies is the seams tend to start wearing and giving in those areas. So it's good to reinforce those two and do our system. We've done the AQMD building out there, you know, Hypalon, and it's been down almost, it's going on its 15th year, and it looks great. It looks really nice. They put solar over the top of that, and it's just, you know, I go out there and inspect that one every couple of years just to see how it's doing and that. So it's coming up for its recoat. Like I said, we had the renewable warranties on that, so at 15 years, this was a 15-year warranty on that, so at 15, they're going to do a recoat, and we'll extend that for another 10 years. So we can talk to you about that warranty a little bit later. But they're really easy applications. You have anything else to touch base on as far as the Single Ply?
Probably the biggest thing is so we're actually starting a Single Ply project next week, and it's a building that's owned by the state, and they have several of them like this. And so if you walk this building and walk on the Single Ply, Jeff hasn't seen this yet, but I'll have him out there next week, probably do a little inspection, little site inspection, and maybe take some photos that he can share. But if you look at this roof, guys, it looks like it's worn and dried out, but it doesn't, there's no obvious leaks in this roof as far as tears and that kind of damage. It's just worn and dried out. So I was out there, probably about 6 weeks ago. We had a little rainy session, like every third day it was raining, and literally this building, every trash can inside of that building was underneath a leak. And if you look at that roof, it doesn't look that bad, but really what happens when they dry out, they're just not waterproof anymore. You know, they've expanded and contracted so many times, and they're brittle. They're pinholed everywhere. And I mean, there was water running inside that. It's that part of the building is about 8,000 feet, and there had to be 25 trash cans in there. It's phenomenal. So anyway, there's been some patches done on this roof with SureSet material to take care of some emergency leaks there and kind of keep it together while they were getting funding together. And then it'll end up being like it'll be like the AQMD building, where it's going to get a full system on it starting next week, and that roof will basically last forever. Yep. It'll be full fabric in that, and it's going to save them. I think the tear off for this building was 3 times what this is going to cost them. Not to mention the equipment they had to take off, the shutdown time, and this is one of those buildings they can't really shut down. So it's going to save them money. It's going to be done during regular business hours, and this roof's going to be extended for a long time. So it's great over those Single Plies. Anything that's aged is really easy. It's a matter of cleaning it, and we use the floor buffer part of that, but we can talk about it at some point whenever you want to. But yeah, it's again easy. There's not a lot of stuff on this roof. It's just more about getting the details done.
So then we have the tar and gravel roofs. We have kind of some ways that we've been doing as far as profiling. You'll see those roofs. Most of the time, it's going to be come in, take, spud it to get rid of all the the gravel and tear it off and then redo the whole roof. We've come up with some ways that you can get that profiled and able to go over there and save a lot of money and just a lot of, you know, how you get disturbed. I mean, it's noisy when they're up there tearing those roofs off. I don't know if you've heard that, but we have personally too here at our office here. And, you know, with the ways we've come up with, we'll just save so much money and get it profiled nice. And it's really an easy application. I have a background in doing concrete coatings. That's why I came up with using a system on top. I'm not going to really tell you the system now. I want you to call me and talk to me. So you can call me and I'll let you know how you can get that gravel, you know, down and make it a nice profile as far as doing the system over the top. But there's a lot of ways. You know, a lot of people go through and cement coat over the whole thing, and that gets costly too. And it's just a lot of work getting that up there. So yeah, give me a call on that, and I can talk to you about, you know, doing the gravel applications. We recommend just a little bit more material on that because you're kind of filling in some of the voids. But it's really does still save a lot of money when using our system.
You know, the other thing that I like about putting the circle system over the tar and gravel roof is that well, first of all, the first one I did I didn't like very much. That was we didn't know the little shortcuts and the corners and things that we figured out through the years. But you know, if you look at one of those roofs, if you core one of those roofs, take the gravel off and core it, those roofs are thick. There's a lot of plies to them, and the base of that roof is very durable. So if you start with that and then put the system over it, where now you've added fabric that's spanned all the cracks that got brittle and cracked over the years. You've spanned those and filled them. You've spanned them with the reinforcing and the product. Once you get done and it's got a full system over it, it really keeps that roof cool. So it really calms it down as far as how much is expanding and contracting every day. So it's not trying to tear itself apart like it was in the past. And then once they're done, you guys, those things are bulletproof. I mean, those things are so tough because you've saved the bottom with all the plies and layers. They're thick. They're really strong, and now you've made them very stable by putting the system and waterproofing. They're really tough roofs once they're done. So we've done a bunch of those things. And Jeff, yeah, the whole profiling these, it's made it a lot easier, and we've used this several times. So anyway, call and talk to these guys about that. There's a good way to do this and save your owners some money, especially if you guys live somewhere like we're in California here, where you've got to account for all the roofing materials you take off these buildings and throw in the dump site. It's a thing here. I mean, the fees are expensive, the landfill part's expensive, a lot of it's got to be tested for asbestos. There's a lot to it, and the whole country's going that direction. So this is a good solution for that. So give these guys a call and let them help you with that. So we're on to the foam portion here, it looks like, buddy. So.
You're the man with the foam.
Yes, okay.
You're the foam man.
So we inherited 3 of these roofs from a large property management company that they were frustrated with these roofs that they were leaking all the time, and the gentleman that owned the properties had the foam roofs put on and thought that they were going to be a little more durable, and he approached me and asked me about having it torn off, framing new crickets, and putting a new built-up system. That was his job meeting with me, was to do that. And so we were looking at it, and I said, well, you know, I can probably fix these, and I know you're frustrated and you don't want to talk about fixing them, but you know, we're getting towards the end of winter right now, so why don't you let me do, we were looking at 2 offices particularly in this big strip center. I said, why don't you let me do these 2 offices, which was probably about 800 square feet or so, and why don't you let me do these 2, and let's let them go through a season, and if it works, then let's talk about doing the rest of them, because there were some things that needed to be cleaned up where they'd sprayed too much foam and overlapped the flashings and some things like that, so there was a way for water to get in behind it, and you know, those things obviously you got to fix. But anyway, long story short, we did those offices, and he didn't have any more leaks. So the following season, we went ahead and did the rest of the building, and you know, most all of those foam roofs, even if you've got a guy that's great spraying foam, I've sprayed from car paint and lacquers to stucco. I've sprayed about everything you can spray, and I consider myself pretty good, you know, with the spray gun. But that foam is very difficult to spray. I mean, and the stuff rises so much, any little mistake, and you've just created another mountain range in there, you know. So you've got all these little bird baths all over that roof, and these coatings that they put over them to protect them don't live in those little bird baths.
Right.
And so that's one of the things. It's kind of a crazy thing where the people that make the foam, you would think they'd want the foam protected so it lasts a long time, because I think the foam gets a bad name because they put acrylic paint basically over the top of, and in the bird baths, it comes off, it exposes that foam, and once that foam's exposed for literally probably 30, 45 days, it starts getting brittle, and you can basically just take your fingernail and it comes right out. So anyway, we've coated, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of feet of these foam roofs now. And we've got a little foam profiling machine where we can fix some flashings. We've resloped a few things and drain areas and things like that, and it's worked great. And again, for that, it's as far as the price to fix one of those, you know, putting the SureCoat material on it and fixing the detail areas is way cheaper than tearing that off and re-roofing that. So again, we're in one of those areas that the Title 24 energy code that we have to abide by here is spreading across the country. Arizona, Nevada, you know, all these areas where it's hot, even in the south, it's going to spread across the country. So if you have foam, you want to protect it. We've saved a couple of really ugly foam roofs, and they have photos here. So it's really a great system to go over foam, and we've got a really good application for that. So again, you talk to Jeff or Monique about that, and they can get you the photos and give you the basic installation to fix those foam roofs. And they're definitely worth saving. So you don't want to tear them off and have to start from scratch on a Title 24 roof. It's going to cost a small fortune.
Looks like we're almost running out of time. Again.
Are we?
Wow, time goes quick when we're having fun.
Yeah.
But hey, pretty soon we're going to be getting out on some roofs and doing some live, Facebook Live shows, just showing you the application and doing these repairs and how to do. And we'd like to get your questions if there's anything that you have that you'd like to ask us, and we'd like to answer those to you. Yeah, please check in. You can always contact us at our office here at 877-823-7873. That's 877-823-7873. Give us a call. We'd like to discuss your project, or if you have any questions about installations. I guess we're done for today.
All right. I think
Alrighty.
we're out. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time. See ya.